would like to introduce Adam Bachler. His project is Improving Leadership Skills through Toastmasters. It is Leadership Development number 5-50, Reflect on Your Path. His task was to present a speech that shares the experience completing this path, including the progress made, the skills learned and developed, as well as a celebration of the achievement in a style that supports the speech content. Without further ado, let's everyone welcome Adam Bachler.
Thank you. I am super excited today because this is my final project in the leadership development path. It's the first path that I've gotten all the way through. It was my goal to get through a path in 2020, and I almost made it. But I got all the projects done last year, so this is the final one. But I wanted to start this out by asking if you have ever felt a feeling when you get a new job that you're walking on eggshells and you're not really sure what to do. You want to make sure to please your clients or your boss or your coworkers or something like that. And you might worry about whether you're making the right moves or even saying the right things. Well, that happened to me. I got a new job about 3 years ago, and it took me a couple of months to really feel like I was starting to get in the groove. I'd started to understand my role and what was expected of me. Mostly, I thought I was going to be working for clients behind the scenes, as I remember to time myself. So I never thought I would be working with clients face to face. I always just thought I'd be a behind the scenes role, and then somebody else would be out in front leading that relationship. Well, that all changed in a heartbeat. We had a client meeting one afternoon, and my boss came up to me and he said, "Adam, I need you to lead this meeting because I have to go somewhere else. Would you be able to lead it for me?" And I said, "Sure," knowing how woefully unprepared I felt to do this. You see, like many small businesses, ours has no formal training program. So a lot of what I've done over the last 3 years has just been kind of winging it. Even to this day, I still feel like I'm winging it. I took my best guess as to what I should do to prepare, and I had the meeting. After the meeting, I felt like I'd hoodwinked our client. I somehow answered the right answers to the questions and said the right things, but I didn't feel quite right about it. But I guess the old adage is fake it till you make it, right? But that doesn't have to be the case anymore. Around the same time, Toastmasters unveiled its new educational program, Pathways. It relies on building the skills of communication and leadership, which are in high demand. In fact, LinkedIn found that communication and leadership are two of the top 10 skills that are in high demand today, according to a survey that came out in August, I believe. I'd like to use the rest of my presentation today to tell you how, for me, Toastmasters has been an effective way to develop those skills. Pathways includes 11 different paths, and after I took an assessment, the one that I decided to head down was leadership development. I quickly reaped the benefits as I worked through the program within the safety net of this club. So thanks to everybody here, I was able to use your evaluations and what I've seen to take that into the projects that I worked on and continue to work on, and then also took into my professional career. So thank you for being there over the last year and a half and helping me hone those skills. The leadership development path offers a number of projects to cultivate leadership skills. The first is your leadership style. I learned that I am an innovative leader, and what that means is I pursue excellence, I encourage collaboration among my coworkers, and I look for, surprisingly enough, innovative ideas to get things done. Looking at that, I learned that I have rarely just made any decisions that I didn't talk through with anybody else first. I almost always get feedback on like a client project, for example, before I pitch it to them. I'll meet with my coworkers about it first to see whether that client even has an appetite for what I want to do. Next, in this path, you'll learn how to manage your time. Time management is critical for leaders and anybody else who just gets their calendars and agendas filled with meetings for the day, because we still need time to actually do the work that we said we were going to do for somebody else or for us. I think I still have some work to do on the time management front, but I'm proud to say, especially after a late night mishap last night, that all of my projects in 2020 launched on time, no technical issues, and my clients were super happy. Can't say that about other agencies that my clients are working with. Once the basics are covered, Toastmasters introduces you to developing and implementing a plan. This plan could be relatively small, like a family vacation or maybe a short meeting or a vacation. The goal is to simply get you used to planning. The project I used for this was planning our first virtual meeting back in April when the lockdowns first took effect. With Rebecca's help and with everyone's buy-in here, I think this meeting was super successful, and it was actually our most attended Zoom meeting to date for this club. As I started to work through this path, I noticed that my role shifted from implementing and executing a plan that someone else developed to actually developing plans of my own. These have been met with great excitement by my coworkers and by my clients, and they've delivered great results. After learning how to build a plan, I learned how to form and lead a team to complete it. Leading even a small group to accomplish a goal helps you develop leadership skills. So again, whether that's a virtual meeting or a family vacation or something. You might recall that I presented on this topic a couple of months ago. Essentially, my agency was in a competition with another agency to produce results. Ultimately, we won, and that's because I worked with a team of flexible resources and contractors to help motivate them to do good work. And I'm proud to say that as a result of that work, we are doing even more work with those flexible resources. And I pitched our client right before Christmas on increasing their retainer amount with us, their monthly retainer, by almost double, and they didn't bat an eye. So we're still waiting on an answer for that, but I think good things are ahead there. Next, in this leadership path, Toastmasters gives you the flexibility to complete a variety of elective projects to polish the skills that are most relevant to you. One of the skills that I chose was creating effective visual aids. An important component of my work, especially now that I work at home, is creating slide decks. I produce a ton of slides on a regular basis. In fact, this week I'm even pitching a client on increasing their dollar amount with us, and I put together a slide deck for that. One of the slides that I have in there looks at, as a marketing agency, one of the things that we're responsible for is increasing website visits and increasing leads or contacts that we've generated. And so I have a chart in there that shows year after year. In 2019, the graph went up by this much, and at some point in 2020, the graph started going up by this much. It's not that it's a super complicated chart to put together, but even something that simple can be super powerful in making our case to a client. My coworkers are excited about that, and the advocate that we have within this client organization, whose leadership we're pitching to this week, are also very excited about that. The other skill that I chose was one that had initially flustered me and ultimately set me down this path from the get-go, and that skill was managing online meetings. Now, instead of occasionally leading a meeting by being a substitute, I lead meetings on a regular basis. I have one today, I have 2 or 3 on Wednesday, I have another on Thursday. So I'm doing this multiple times per week. And this skill has become especially important as things have transitioned to the virtual environment over the past 9 or 10 months. I still have a healthy dose of anxiousness about every client meeting because I'm still asking myself, am I saying the right things? Am I doing the right things as I am the face of my organization? But unlike being a last minute substitute, I feel like I have a pretty good idea of how to prepare for these meetings now. My career accelerated as I went through this leadership development path. The projects I've completed over the last year and a half have helped me guide our client relationships, build solid relationships with my coworkers, and has set our organization up for our most successful year in our 8-year history. But if what I have laid out so far has not convinced you, maybe this will. we invest $100 each year to be Toastmasters, $50 every 6 months. Earlier this summer, my boss approached me and said, hey, I would like to give you a raise. Can you come back and tell me what dollar amount you think you deserve? And of course, I didn't have to do the hard part. I didn't have to go asking for a raise. He came to me, which was great. But of course, I leapt at this opportunity because, like almost anybody, I feel like I'm not making what I could be making. So I did my research. I compiled a list of my work to date, especially over the last year, to see where I was. I talked about how I have many professional certifications and even more than my other coworkers. I talked about this very leadership path and being in these meetings that impacts my job, but doesn't necessarily affect my work. Like I don't really have to miss work to be here. And I settled on a number that I thought was super high. I said, there's no way they're going to go for this. I thought it was competitive. I didn't think it was outrageous, but it was a huge leap from what I was making at the time. We're also an organization that values financial transparency. So I thought by asking for this much of a raise, I was like, I might get half of that, just kind of knowing that we're a transparent organization. And a few weeks later, my boss sent me an email and it said something like growth plan. And I go, here it is. He said I was going to get every penny that I asked for, which was huge. So if that's not a value or a testament to the value of Toastmasters, I don't know what is. The return on my investment in this program has been met many, 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 many times over. So if you're considering leveling up your career this year, put in the work for your path and reap your rewards. This is the year for you to complete your first path or your next path. We have plenty of opportunities to speak at each and every meeting. So I would highly encourage you to go into Easy Speak right now and go in and sign up for a speech on the 19th. You'll get out of Toastmasters and your path what you put into it. Thank you.